Achieving the perfect fade haircut at home may seem intimidating, but with the right tools and technique, it's entirely possible. A fade is a popular hairstyle where the length of your hair gradually shortens from the top of your head to the nape of your neck. Whether you're going for a low, mid, or high fade, mastering this technique requires a precise approach. The key to a flawless fade lies in blending different lengths seamlessly, creating a smooth transition from the longer hair at the top to the shorter hair at the bottom. With patience, attention to detail, and practice, you can replicate this stylish and timeless look right at home. This guide will walk you through each step, from gathering the necessary tools to executing the fade with precision, ensuring you achieve a clean and professional-looking result every time. Let's get started on your journey to mastering the fade haircut. Gathering the necessary tools for a perfect fade. The first thing you'll need to do is gather the proper tools for the job. To get the best results, you'll need a good pair of clippers with adjustable guard sizes, a comb, a mirror or 2 mirrors if possible, and some scissors for any additional cutting. The clipper guards allow you to gradually reduce the length of your hair as you move from top to bottom, which is essential for creating a smooth fade. It's important to use high-quality clippers, as they will ensure a clean cut and make the entire process smoother. Don't forget to have a good mirror setup, preferably with one positioned in front and one in the back, so you can see all angles of your head while cutting. Once you have everything in place, make sure your hair is clean and dry. Wet hair can appear longer and might distort the results, so it's best to work on hair that's completely dry. If you have longer hair, trim it down with scissors or clippers to a manageable length, but leave enough for the fade to be noticeable. A good starting length for the top part is around 1 to 2 inches, depending on the style you're aiming for. Starting with the top section of your hair. Now that you've prepared your tools and your hair, it's time to begin. The first step is to trim the top of your hair. This section will be the longest part of your fade, so choose the guard size that suits the length you want to keep. For a longer top, use a higher numbered guard, and for a shorter top, choose a lower guard. Start cutting the top section by moving the clippers in an upward motion against the grain of your hair. Take your time and make sure the hair is cut evenly. Work your way around the entire head, cutting in the same direction each time to ensure consistency. Once you've finished cutting the top, step back and check the overall length. If the length looks even and you're happy with it, you can begin working on the sides and back. Creating the fade on the sides and back. To begin creating the fade, you'll need to start working on the sides and back of your head. A fade requires the hair to gradually become shorter as it moves down toward the neck, so the goal is to use different guard sizes to create this gradient effect. Start with a higher guard size for the bottom of the fade, and gradually work your way up toward the top section, switching to shorter guards as you go. Start at the very bottom of your hairline and use a guard that's longer than what you use for the top. Hold the clippers flat against the scalp and move the clippers upward in smooth motions. As you move upward, be sure to maintain an even pace to avoid uneven cuts. Once you've worked your way around the back and sides of your head, it's time to transition to the next section. Switch to a shorter guard to start blending the hair as it moves toward the middle section of your fade. The key to a good fade is a smooth transition, so when you change guard sizes, make sure to flick the clippers outwards to prevent harsh lines. Avoid pushing the clippers too deep into your scalp to ensure that the hair length doesn't suddenly drop. The goal is to have the hair gradually fade from the longer section on top to the shorter section at the bottom without creating a noticeable line in between. Blending and refining the fade. One of the most critical parts of achieving a perfect fade is blending the various lengths together. After you've completed the initial fade, you'll want to step back and assess your work. Look for any harsh lines or areas where the fade is uneven, and go over those spots again using a shorter guard or a blending technique. Blending the fade involves making small, light strokes with the clippers to soften the line between different guard sizes. Take your time and adjust your guard size if necessary to ensure a smooth gradient effect. You can also use the cornering technique, where you tilt the clippers slightly and use the edges of the blade to work on smaller areas. This is especially useful when blending around the curve of the head or the ear, where the fade tends to be trickier. If you notice any lines around the neckline or the ear area, use a smaller trimmer to clean up those edges. A small precision trimmer can help create sharp, defined lines that highlight the fade. Be cautious when trimming near sensitive areas like the ears and neck to avoid cutting too much or unevenly. Focusing on the back and nape of the neck. The back of the head and the nape of the neck require extra attention when performing a fade at home. This part of the haircut can be challenging to do on your own, so be sure to have your mirrors set up in such a way that you can see the back of your head clearly. Start at the bottom of your neck and use the clippers to gradually trim the hair in an upward direction. If you have trouble seeing the back of your head, consider enlisting the help of a friend or family member. The neckline should have a clean, defined look, so after you've faded the hair, take a trimmer or razor to the neck area and create a sharp line. This will help give your fade a professional appearance and make the transition to the short hair at the bottom of the fade stand out. Be careful with the nape area, as this part is delicate. Go slow and adjust your technique as needed. Finishing touches and final cleanup. After you've completed the fade and blending, the last step is to clean up the overall look and sharpen any edges. Use your trimmer to define the hairline around your temples, sideburns, and neck. These small details will make your fade look more polished and sharp. You may want to carefully trim any stray hairs or uneven spots with the clippers or scissors to ensure that everything is symmetrical. Once the fade is complete and the edges are clean, style your hair to your liking. Depending on your personal preference, you can use a hair product like pomade, gel, or styling cream to add texture or hold. Work the product through your hair and use a comb or your fingers to style it as desired. Maintaining your fade. A key part of keeping your fade looking fresh is regular maintenance. The fade tends to grow out quickly, so you'll need to trim it every 2 to 4 weeks to maintain its shape. As your hair grows, the fade will become less defined, and the lines between the different lengths may become more noticeable. To keep the fade sharp, make sure to touch it up regularly and trim the sides and back to prevent the fade from becoming uneven. Between haircuts, it's also essential to take care of your scalp and hair. Use a good quality shampoo and conditioner to keep your hair healthy. And if your fade grows out unevenly in certain areas, don't be afraid to touch it up with clippers in the meantime. Over time, you'll get better at maintaining your fade and will need fewer adjustments. Achieving the perfect fade at home is not as difficult as it may seem. With the right tools, a little practice, and attention to detail, you can master the technique and achieve a sharp, clean fade that rivals what you would get at the barbershop. The most important thing is to take your time, blend each section carefully, and refine the edges for a professional look. As with any skill, the more you practice, the better your results will become. Keep experimenting with different fade styles and techniques to find what works best for you. Soon enough, you'll be cutting your hair at home like a pro.